T, black jewelry. I know I stand out, I don't need a try for it. Jack the limelight if you don't think ahead quick. Tell them catch me if you can on some gingerbread. Oh, I never ride solo. It's me and my chick looking like slow-mo.
Hey guys, what's going on? Vince down here in Tampa. I got the WBA champion Jasmine Artiga on. How are you doing, Miss Lady?
I'm good, Vince. How are you?
I'm surviving. Say, so congratulations, you made history. You're on like every platform. You're being interviewed by thousands. How are you handling all the fanfare that you're getting right now?
Absolutely. I just take it for what it is. I'm grateful to be in the position that I'm in, and I know it comes with all the interviews and the podcasts and all that. And, I'm really loving it because I get to express who I am as a person and use my platform for good. So I'm loving the exposure and I'm grateful and thankful for you having me on your podcast as well.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Now, so the question is, since you've became world champ, your life's kind of changed a little bit. So how are you dealing with, you're still having that personal time or people now when you go somewhere? Because like, even when I see you at the Crunch, everybody's like, what's up, champ? I mean, it's a big different vibe. You're 1%er now as far as what I consider in society because, mentally, a lot of people don't get to where you're at.
Yeah, of course. So, it was a long journey, 12 years. Me and my dad, we've been grinding, with our head down and with blinders on. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of attention everywhere. But, it's up to me as a champion to remain humble. I'm very, I'm really big on remaining humble because the same way God gives you things, God can take them away. And like I said, I like to use my platform for good. So I don't want the victories and the wins and the championship to get to my head. So I stay the same, in my brain, I've always been a world champion. So not much has changed there in how I perceive myself, but I'm very welcoming. So if you see me at Crunch or you see me at the mall or something, feel free to stop by, say, hey, I'm very personable with people. So, I'm in love every second of what this journey has brought to me.
All right. So you got into boxing late because I saw on an interview that you started when you were like 21. So what made you make that switch? Did you play any sports in high school?
Yeah, I found my passion in sports at a young age. Growing up, my grandma put me in dance, tap, jazz, ballet. I did that bid for about 3 or 4 years. From there, yeah. I can't honestly, at that age, growing up, I was really shy. So for you to tell me, I really want to see if there's video of me dancing on a stage at a recital because I just don't see myself performing like that in front of people, especially dancing because to me, I had 2 left feet growing up, but I played other sports. Tennis was my main sport into my teenage years. I did USTA circuits.
Whoa.
Yeah. I did that all through high school. And then I picked up basketball really late in high school, junior year. I just decided I wanted to play. I didn't know any of the rules, but I was fast and could steal the ball. So they put me on the court. And then flag football actually came out when I was in high school. And that my junior year flag football came out and I joined the team. I was the QB. I played safety. And then after high school, I ended up trying out for the LFL. The Tampa Breeze had it was called the Lingerie Football League. We wore pads, hockey helmets, but we played tackle on an arena stage. And I was playing at Amalie Arena. I was 17 years old, youngest girl to make the league. And I loved it. And I got into that because I took dad to a game and for like a Christmas present. And then I saw there was a line of people waiting for autographs. And I was like, Dad, I could do this. I was playing flag football all the time. I'm athletic. All the girls were from different other sports because football wasn't for us growing up. But it was fun. It was 300 girls in tryouts. 20 made the team. 14 made the starting roster. And I was one of the ones that made the starting roster. So I did that out of high school and then did that for 2 or 3 years. It kind of died down. And then I had to make a choice. And then boxing has always been in my life because dad was a boxer.
Right.
He actually gave up his dreams to start his family, me, my mom, my siblings, my brother, my sister. And he left the California dreams behind and started us. And so I always grew up watching it. I always hit a heavy bag, but women's boxing wasn't popular. But, we took a chance on it. And we saw women's sports was coming up. So me and dad, we just got to it. And the day we messed around with it for a few weeks. He goes, I can make you world champion. So he saw something in me that I didn't see at the time. And I said, hey, let's do it. And from day one, it's been world champion dreams. And that's how I got involved in boxing. But why boxing? Because I get asked this question a lot. It's different than any other sport. You don't ask people like, why football? It's because I love the game, right? Boxing is different. Why boxing? Boxing to me has no ceilings. So let's say you're an NFL player. Okay, yeah, you make the NFL. You play for a team sport. You win championships. Cool, whatever. But I feel like with boxing, it's like there's no limit to where you can go in boxing. You can win one title. You can maybe never win a title. You can defend it 10 times, 12 times. It's up to you, really. And what it takes out of a boxer versus other sports, it's from the mental fortitude to be a boxer is insane. You have to be in tune spiritually, physically, mentally. It literally takes you at your best self to get in that ring and operate at 100% each and every time. So to me, it was very challenging, and I was a very competitive person. So it was just the only decision to make,
Eddie's had a big influence because he was a boxer. And as you progress, you said you took dance, but you dance around that ring a lot. So I think it paid off. So you got to give Grandma a little credit.
That's right. I do definitely give Grandma credit for sure. I give everybody in my family credit. I give Mom credit because if it wasn't for her black beans and rice and her
the Uncle Donuts.
Yeah, her home cooked meals every night. Honestly, I feel like is the reason why I'm so strong. There's no diet food for me. There's beans, rice, and steak. So. Growing up, I kind of give everybody in my family credit and the support system for my siblings, my brothers in my corner, each fight. Dad trains me. Dad has managed my whole career up until we got to a point where we said, okay, we need somebody that has been in the game for a long time to reach out, because at the end of the day, with anything that you do, people aren't just going to come find you. You have to really knock that door down, so they're just not going to pop up to one of your fights and say, oh, I want to sign that person. You have to go looking for it. And, with the team behind me, I wouldn't be where I'm at without, my family support from everywhere, so it's truly been a blessing on this journey.
All right. So you made a comment in an interview, and I thought it was really interesting, and I liked it because, I grew up in, from Louisiana, where boxing was really big back in the 70s. And then as we transition, I think the Olympics has had a major impact for women's boxing, women's soccer, women's everything, because everything seems that when they do it at the Olympics, it launches the professional careers of so many women. So do you think a lot of the things that you are enjoying now were, the 90s, where they started introducing women's boxing at the, early 2000s and all that? You think that those trailblazers set a path for you and other women that box?
Definitely. When the Olympics allowed women to box in the Olympics, we had that crew of girls that they decided, I believe they did 2 Olympics. You have Clarissa Shields won double gold, which is huge because I don't think the U.S. has seen a gold medal since like the 80s. So, once Clarissa Shields decided to go pro, we had other women that were making noise in other combat sports. You had Ronda Rousey, which definitely we have to give her credit for opening up the doors on the UFC side. So they said if they can do it in UFC, why can't they do it in boxing? So that group of girls turned pro, and it started being where like we went from not seeing any women on any of these cards to, okay, there's one big female name on this big card. There's another one. And now we're headlining. We have July 11th, or July 12th, you have Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, which is it's a trilogy. It's the 3rd fight, biggest female fight ever. And it's a stacked card with nothing but world champion women. And, Jake Paul has been a big advocate for women in boxing. And it's guys like that stand behind us women, that invest in us, is a reason why it's growing so big. So, I thank Jake Paul for that, and anybody else who gets behind boxing, because there are a few promoters out there that are also doing the same thing. But the Olympics is definitely plays a big role in why it's growing today. And
you brought up the sponsorships and support, and I love what you just said, because you gave homage to the fact that you got to have support, and regardless of what gender, to make sure that the sport thrives. And it's like I was told, even with women's soccer, that they won, and then next thing you know, they're huge. So what I really like about your journey is that you're 21, you got into it late. So here's the thing is, and I talked to your dad, so I'm not going to steal that thunder because I'm not going to tell the story, but your dad just happened to, what made you go in and just start hitting the bag, or are you just trying to stay in shape, and then he finally like, okay, we're going to do this? Because at some point, all of us as athletes, something triggered you to make you want to go to the next level.
I was just kind of at a place, well, you know, like I told you, I hit the bag growing up, and just like any other kid, I dealt with pain in different areas of my life. You know, I felt like I was way too skinny. You know, I was weighing like 85 pounds, and when everybody was so much bigger than me, I was wearing like little girl clothes when I was a teenager. You know, also, I had bad acne, and I was a very shy person. So I was getting bullied in school. You know, I was very to myself, and I didn't have a way to express myself. But when I got into that ring, and I felt like I laid everything out in that ring, is when I was like, this is what I was called to do. You know, I felt like I could finally express myself, and it clicked with me. It didn't have to be with words. Right. And that's why when I first started boxing, I was boxing for myself. I was boxing to save me, to create me, to develop me and my confidence. But as I grew into an adult, and now being 33 years old, now my passion is my purpose. So now instead of me boxing for me, I'm boxing for the kids that are like me. So the youth that are struggling with something. And it may not be the same thing as me. It may be other things in their life. And we all struggle with something. No matter how good my life might look, you know, on social media. And that's a big thing too. Social media has made people, you know, so judgmental, and you want to have this perfect life. Nobody's perfect in life. So I'm able to, you know, give back to the kids and like say, hey, listen, like you can be here one day, but if you stick to something and do things the right way, you can reach mountaintops, and there's no limit to where you can go in life. So transferring it from selfish, me boxing for me to the kids, and me being selfless in it is honestly what I live for, truly.
Oh, so but you said the word, and I truly believe this. You know, you cannot achieve, to me, you can't achieve great heights unless there is a struggle in life and setbacks. And it all falls back to self-esteem. And I could be here all day going to therapy on
right.
the traumas of my own life. But it forged something in me. And the thing I like is that you touched on a point. It's forged you to deal with adversity. And because boxing is adversity. Let's be brutally honest. It's the oldest, next to the stick and the stone of war. Yep. Boxing is the oldest physical contact of aggression by human beings. The only difference is boxing is controlled aggression.
Right.
So when you look at your opponents, which are all different when you're getting into it, how do you develop a strategic plan to deal with each opponent? How much film watching do you do? How much you have to pay attention to if they got a strong right or a strong left southpaw and all that? What kind of analysis do you go into, and how long do you go into analysis before you to adjust your fighting style?
Well, being at the top of the food chain, and it's something that through my career I've done. I know every girl in my division. I know what they can do. I know what they can't do. I watch pretty much everybody, but when I get that call and I'm like, this is the person you're facing, then me and dad, and this is where it's the biggest team effort. And I have to understand that I am learning, and no matter what accolades I have under my belt, I'm not there without the brains behind me. And the brains is my father. He is an encyclopedia when it comes to boxing. Yeah, absolutely. Like day and night, this is this man's passion. Like he is on the computer day and night studying boxing, no matter what era it's from. You know, he's studying, and I have 200% trust in whatever game plan he comes up with. If I follow it, I will dominate, and it's up to me to do that. So I have to be able to listen, and that's the only way we grow is by listening. When you think you know it all is when you stop growing in the sport. So we always come up with a game plan. So how we do this is, he goes into his memory bank of, you know, boxing in the 80s and stuff. And he remembers, he says, hey, I remember when this fighter beat this fighter and this fighter had your style and this fighter had the style you're fighting. And we go back and we watch that, and I'll study that film. And there's probably like 1 or 2 fights that I'll study from back in the day. And then I personally, I live for this sport. So at nighttime on my downtime, I don't waste my time doing things to feed my brain things that don't matter to me. So at nighttime, when people are watching reality TV shows, I'm watching the girl I'm fight whichever fights I could find, whatever I can find on the internet of them.
Right.
So I'm calculating everything they do. It comes to a point sometimes where I, especially now in how high up I am, I'm punch counting your rhythm. I'm catching your rhythm and I'm marking everything down. So it depends on how I want to analyze a fight that day.
Wow.
So I'm just going to watch my opponent today, and I start counting her rhythm. Then I say, I'm going to watch what this girl did. And I pretty much just break down the fight as best as I can. And I watch it probably every day in camp. I'm not that fighter I don't stir up the pot. That's not my style. I don't believe you have to. I'm an athlete. I'm in it for sport. So
Right.
I'm in it to win. So me studying the sport is also a page to me, is part of the blueprint of me winning. I don't just say, hey, I'm going to just train really hard and I'm going to beat you because I'm going to train harder than you. It doesn't work that way. Boxing is a thinking person sport, not a tough person sport. And I think when you can grab that concept in boxing, it makes it easier to get to the top for sure.
Oh yeah. So as you push yourself, what's a day in the life of Jasmine look like? What time you get up? Do you do the Rocky thing? You eat all the eggs and then you do 100 push-ups?
I am not a firm believer in having to wake up at 4 a.m. and do. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not, because I really truly believe that I get a better, because my first thing I do in the day is gonna be running. But when I'm in training camp, I turn my morning runs, which is like 7 o'clock. Like I don't need an alarm clock to wake up at 7 and make sure I go running. You know. If I wake up at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever, that's sufficient. But when I'm in camp, I actually take that morning run. I do it at 1 o'clock in the day. So I'm out in the heat, especially in the summer, making sure I'm training my body because these boxing gyms are hot. So the day in the life of Jazz is literally boxing all day, every day, whatever the day is for me, whether it's a technical day. If the running is every day, that's just every day.
So get your David Goggins on then.
Yeah, I run every single day. You know, and to me, it's not even at that point. It's not even a workout for me because it's more of it's therapeutic. You know, it's my place where my head is the clearest. So to me, that's therapy. So I love running. It took time for me to get to that place, but I do enjoy it now. That I feel like if I don't, let's say I don't go running, which is rarely ever. It's got to be raining, and if it's raining, I'm probably in the gym on the treadmill. But if I don't, I feel like I've cheated myself, and then all day my day's thrown off. So I'll probably end up going running at some point in that day.
Yeah, I was gonna wonder, do you ever lift weights? Because I see you in the gym, I see you going through your motions, and the one thing you remind me of is Ken Norton. You know, physique matters, right? And so. When you see boxers with muscles, the first person I default back to is Ken Norton, because he was like the most chiseled boxer I'd ever seen when I was growing up. Because Ali didn't have a lot of muscle tone.
No, and you have Roberto Duran, one of the biggest punchers in the world, not a muscle on him. Muscles don't matter in boxing. I do lift weights, and it's kind of for the older generation. They're really against the weightlifting. I think if you lift weights to perform, and you know what you're doing, and I've studied lifting weights, then I think it could benefit because the tighter your muscles are, the quicker you do fatigue. But I've gotten to a place where like I'm on a system where I know I work out with weights twice a week, and it's on Fridays and Saturdays. And Saturday I'm going to do a full upper body, and Fridays I'm going to do lower body. And I stick to that. And it's really mainly to just keep my strength and maintain my strength, because earlier in my career, I did lift weights a lot more, but I wasn't fighting 8 to 10 round fights. I was fighting 4 to 6 rounds. Now that we're fighting the longer fights, I have to keep in mind muscle fatigue is real. So I try to balance it where, I still can keep my strength on the weights because strength on the weights doesn't necessarily translate into punching power. They're two different things.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's two different things. You can have a big bench and have no punch, so It's really just a big punch is really God-given, and you can tweak it and make it a little better. But if you have a punch, you have a punch, you know.
When you have a punch,
yeah,
you definitely have a punch.
Yeah, but I like to stay in shape, and I don't lift weights for the aesthetic look.
Mm-hmm.
I do it to perform, and like I said, but it comes with, I guess, how I do it. It comes with the territory, so it's aesthetically pleasing.
All right, so from a mental standpoint, which is really critical for what you do, how do you flip the switch? Because the thing is, you have to break the soul of another person when you go fight someone. And it's like being in the military, which I was, is that when you get ready to go into a fight, you are consciously having to flip a switch in your mind, knowing that you can look in a person's eyes and know when you're going to take their soul, because we do grappling in the military, and I know when I'm going to win a grappling match is because it's weird is that you can see it in the eyes of the other person before you beat them.
Yes.
So you know, to put me through that process of when you get into the ring and you're in that fight, how do you kind of gauge where you're at in that fight, and you know that you're starting to get the upper hand? How do boxers know that? Because Mike Tyson used to just intimidate people until they figured out to take him deep in the rounds to get him. Yeah.
Well, as a boxer, actually, with the Mike Tyson, I take a lot of his mentality because it worked, right? So the big thing about me is I take things that have worked for other fighters in the past because history repeats itself, right? So I'm a firm believer that I can break your spirit before you even get in that ring, which is what Mike Tyson did. So as soon as I touch down to wherever I'm fighting, and we're in the same building, I'm locked in 100%. I'm trying to take your soul in that moment. So you're not going to see Jazz all smiley, like, yeah, I'm locked in, I'm zoned in, I prepared, I did the hard work, everything's been done. Now mentally that's my place to focus. When I get in the ring, there's just things that you see when you break, you know, we're human, we make reactions. And, you know, it's just a matter of making that decision. Do you jump on it or do you wait? And I naturally am an aggressive fighter, so you probably always see me jump on it. But because I am prepared to go the distance, whether I have to throw 100 punches, 200 punches around, I know that I did the physical preparation to be able to do that. So that plays big in the mental part too. So as a fighter, you just kind of know. You kind of know when you've broken somebody. You can see when you take their confidence. A good shot landed could literally turn the whole fight around because it's weird. I can't explain it, but if you've been in the ring, you know you could be dead tired, right? And you could shot, and then all of a sudden you get this burst of energy. That just goes to show how mental boxing is, and it's not that we are so much better than we are so much more than what we physically think we can do. We could do so much more because how come I was just tired, but I clipped you right and now I'm not? You know what I mean? Right. So that's something that's unexplainable, but it's a mental game. So yeah, as a fighter, you kind of you sense things, you know, and it's up to the fighter to jump on it or let them off the hook. So that's where you have fighters that are really good at stopping people and closing fights, and then people that kind of like just don't get those knockouts because they don't know how to close the show. But yeah, it's just instincts, really.
So when's your next fight and where's it at?
Yeah, we're in negotiations for the fight. I can't release the details, but it will be at the end of summer. And you know, I am the world champion, so they have to come see me at home. So it will be fairly close to home. So anybody in the Tampa, Orlando area,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. You know, we'll get you. We'll get y'all there. But yeah, now that we're the champ, they have to come see me here. No more traveling.
And what was that all about? You know, I saw you, getting the pitch. Was that with the mayor?
Mayor Jane Castor, she had called and they wanted to give me a proclamation of the city. Being Tampa, being over 130 years old, has never seen a world champion boxer. We have boxers that migrated here from other cities. Then you have like Winky Wright was from St. Pete. He was from Washington, but he migrated to St. Pete. Keith Thurman was born and raised in Clearwater. Antonio Tarver was from Orlando. Actually, his trainer was my dad's trainer, Jimmy Williams. But nobody from actually born and raised from Tampa rooted. Like, I'm third generation. So my family came, I think Dad gave you the backstory of how Tampa with Ebor and the cigars. So, the mayor was just like, she's from Tampa. So it was really cool for her to present, the proclamation, and having 2 women at these top jobs is just like, it's a really beautiful thing. It was truly an honor. And then the Tampa History Center actually took my gloves and my wraps for my fight. And when they redo the exhibit in October, I'll be behind the glass with your Tino Martinez's of Tampa and all your major, anybody who's done anything great in sports from Tampa is in that. So I'll be the only boxer, I believe, to be in, on that. So actually I was laughing at my mom because I said, at least the gloves won't get lost, because you keep them in my hands, I'll lose them somewhere down the line in some years, or I'll let the kids use them. And so I know they're safe forever. It's, there's a lot of great fighters out there right now. But the advice I'd give to anybody following, wanting to be a boxer, or even honestly anything in life, is follow your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you what you can or can't do. If it's something you're passionate about, don't let anything stop you. You have to become so undeniable in your passions, and it's consistency, it's persistence, it's understanding that nothing's handed to you and nothing's going to happen overnight. But, in time, you'll probably get everything that you've worked for. But like I said, the main thing is working for it. So I just had another interview where I was talking about this, where God can give you all the tools, right, but if you don't work for it, you're never going to achieve anything with the tools that he gave you. I'd probably rather have God give me less and me have to work harder than him give me all these natural abilities, and then me just kind of take them for granted, because a lot of people take it for granted when they're blessed naturally. But yeah, just follow your dreams and don't let anything stop you. If it's something you love to do, like, who cares what people are saying? Put your blinders on, and people are going to talk regardless. If you're winning, people are going to talk about you. You didn't win good enough, and they're going to put you up against the next person. If you lose, they're going to talk about you. People are always going to talk. Who cares? As long as you're following your heart and doing what you love to do, everything else is irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some grief real quick, because I got girls. Yep. So I do the same thing. I'm gonna say the same thing I'm gonna say to you. How do you guys go from looking hardcore, badass in the ring, sports athletes, and then go feminine? I don't know how you guys do it. I tell my daughter to play soccer, and she'll leave the field and be like 2 different people. So it's like you guys have this unbelievable switch that God has given you, that you're able to go, okay, I'm on the field now, and she's knocking girls over, putting them in the dirt, and then comes off the field and total different person. So, I know people look at your Instagram and they see, she's like 2 different people.
I know, it's cool. It's a beautiful thing, honestly. Like, it goes to show, like, for women like me and your daughter and stuff, you can be strong and beautiful at the same time. Like, you don't have to pick a side. You know what I mean? Like, you can balance the two. There's nothing wrong with it. I feel like people put women in a box for so long that they feel like, okay, they have to look a certain way to do a certain thing. No, like, you could be beautiful and fragile and feminine and still kick ass. You know what I mean? So, like I said, to me, it's just sport. I don't have to put a facade on to be tough, or, it's sport to me. And I guess like that, I can thank God and my parents for the genetics. But yeah, I think it's cool that, now it's okay to do both, and just because you're beautiful doesn't mean you can't play sports, like, it's crazy.
No, I'm glad you said that, because I think in a lot of ways, viewers, when we run this, need to hear that, because I think a lot of girls, and honestly, I think a lot of girls struggle with that, Jazz.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. But, it's just something that with age too, you learn how to embrace all sides of you. And that with me came with age too. I had to balance both sides of who I am, and people love me for me, and I'll never stop being me. And like, if I can use my platform to inspire another young girl who thinks she's too pretty to fight, people, hey, you're too pretty to fight, don't get in there. No, you can do it. You can still be pretty. You just, gym times.
You gotta go get her.
Yeah. So when I'm locked in at the gym, my phone is put away when I'm truly locked into camp. But it's a beautiful thing. Women coming up in the world in sports. It's I'm here for it. I'm in the perfect time, and I think it's only up from here.
Yeah, hey, you're a blessing in disguise. Hey guys, I want to thank the champ for coming on. Jazz, you are a trailblazer. You are now in history. That even though no matter what you do from here on out, you've already etched your stone in history. And you know what? And crazy thing about it, not everybody can do it.
Yep.
So congratulations to you. Congratulations to Eddie for being such a phenomenal person. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Of course. I know when I met you, I was in the middle of camp, and then things got crazy after, but things are a little settled now. So I have time to do the things that I guess comes with being a world champion, and so thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And it's just anybody to give me a platform to speak. Truly grateful for it.
Well, and I'm glad you said it, because a lot of people get into certain positions in life, and even me being a retired general, I have friends that literally you cannot even have a conversation with because of their status. I'm glad you're still humble. God bless you, Eddie, your family, and I tell your mom and grandma, keep making that good cooking, whatever they cooking, because it's working.
Yeah. I just never believe in that. No matter how far boxing takes me, it's always important to stay humble. And now, mind you, if I am going to leave behind the people that didn't support me at the beginning, and if I could see through if you're a true supporter, if you're not. So it does come with that too. So if you say I changed up, it's not really that I've changed up. I've reached a point where okay, there's just some people I can't take with me. You
got to move on.
Yeah, you have to. And, my circles will change, and my circles are changing. And, I only sit at tables that welcome me and that I truly know support me. And you just have to understand, when you're at a certain position, you have to be very vigilant and keep your head on a swivel on who's truly behind you and who's truly not. And, you can sense, as a human, you can sense that, especially if you're in tune with the universe and all that. And I like to think I am. But yeah, you treat people good that treat you good. And that's 100% how I was raised, and how if I ever have kids, how I would raise my kids. If they treat you good, you treat them better, so.
Yep. Well, and I'll give you this last advice, Champ, as I tell my daughters, is go where you celebrate it, not tolerate it.
Exactly. My dad says the same thing. My dad says the same thing.
And I appreciate it. Hey, guys, check out the show. Jazz and Stuff's on IG. Follow her. Let's get those numbers up. We need her at 100K, 1 million K on Instagram. And let's go.